in New York.
Well, there may be celebrations in Syria following the downfall of the Assad regime, but don't mistake that for an end to the humanitarian crisis gripping the war-torn nation. Let's get more. Asif Hussain is the chief executive of the SKT Welfare Charity. It's good to see you this morning. Thank you for joining us. Talk to us about the humanitarian crisis in Syria.
Hi, good morning, Kate, and thank you for having me on. The situation hasn't changed since 2011, I'd say. There's still dire humanitarian need, although there is some jubilation in the air that they've got rid of a regime, and people are very hopeful that there's going to be a real future for them. They can actually see something in the horizon now they're looking towards. But as you said in your piece, the dire humanitarian situation is still there. Over 2 million people, today are living in camps, in tents in northern Syria. Over 1 million, again, further 1 million are IDPs sort of living within their country as refugees. And across the nation, 16.7 million are living under the poverty line. So the humanitarian situation is extremely dire, even though, there is some hope in the air.
Yeah, food levels, I believe, in Damascus have already been very low. The situation very dire on the ground is what we're being told by our team there. So the humanitarian crisis that's already in place, I'm guessing in the short term, will only worsen.
It's going to worsen, most definitely, because I think a lot of the borders are closed and there is talk of opening some of the borders to allow people to return to their homes. But you also have quite a large community of something like 8 million Syrians that left the country because of the war since 2011, wanting to return. Now, if they all return at once, or if they return at once, then there's going to be even further complications with the food and with the humanitarian situation, because then food stocks are already very low, as I've said. This will further exacerbate the situation on the ground.
And yet it does appear that many Syrians may well decide to return home now that they feel it is, at least would appear on the surface, a safer place to be.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people I'm speaking to our Syrian team on the ground who are in Turkey, in Jordan, are in Lebanon and elsewhere, all are very forward looking. I think on the 18th of December, Damascus airport is reported to be open. They're all planning to go back. Some of these haven't seen their parents, haven't seen loved ones for over 8 to 10 years. And they are looking forward to returning, but also to help rebuild Syria. It's their homeland. They've never lost their attachment. So, very, very hopeful that they're going to return and be able to contribute towards their future and the future building of their country.
Tell me about your organisation. How do you help?
So, SKT Welfare is one of the very first international NGOs that was inside Syria. So, March 2011, we were there. We had contacts on the ground. We knew, I myself was in Syria studying until September 2010, so only 6 months before the revolution started. And I was there on the ground. I understood the regime, how brutal it was. So we knew from the very start that this was unfortunately going to be a very brutal civil war. So we put a plan in place where we were able to help the people, starting very smallly, locally within Hama and Homs, and then expanding all over the northern Syria. SKT Welfare, like I mentioned, has been there since 2011. We have a hospital there, a specialist hospital that treats bullet wounds, for example, and sort of specialist operations that we facilitate. We have a bread factory there. We've just completed our 6th village. We've built 3,000 homes. We've got to remember there's still 2 million people living in tents, and there's no future for them. How are they going to start building their lives if they don't have a stable home to live in? And so SKT Welfare has been there, standing with the Syrian people, helping the Syrians since 2011.
OK, for now. Thank you. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is in court this morning to give evidence